view as their most dangerous player.
So we're away here at Etihad Stadium, the final home and away match of the season for these two teams. It's Hudson against Sandilands. And Sandilands got the hand on it as Boyd immediately wrapped up by Broughton. And a secondary bounce in the middle.
There's the Bulldogs keeper coming up off the bottom of the pack, and he has done that right across the whole season. He has had an unbelievable season, the most possessions won in the AFL this year, Matthew Boyd, and really can hold his head up high at the end of this year.
Yep, career high 45 disposals when these teams met back in round 5. Here's Vez Premi for the Bulldogs. Blazes away to the 50. Oh, Duffield dropped a mark he should have taken. Rough head over the top of it. He's immediately wrapped up. And the umpire will bounce.
Yeah, Paul Duffield was signed for another 3 years, but has a real disappointing season, Paul Duffield. And here's the matchup. Stephen Hill got 30 disposals last week, but was let go by Collingwood. Big test for him to see if he can get on top of Picken, who's one of the best taggers in the comp.
Chance for Hill, couldn't get the handball out. Now a chance for Jack Anthony, wide. Well done by Hinkley. Now Main over the ball. Good pressure coming from Dowhouse. Eventually the ball over. Boundary throw in the forward pocket for the Bulldogs.
The thing Paul Williams spoke about, the interim coach, into his 3rd game now, was that he was going to have a bigger emphasis on team defence. He wanted to make sure that their pressure skills were up, and you can just see that the players have focused a lot more on that since he's taken over.
John Siracusa, Jones, Vez Premi, little poke is okay. Boyd, hit the ground running, called to play on from 35, couldn't quite pull it back far enough. First score of the afternoon, a behind to the Bulldogs.
You look down one end, Chris Owen, you've got Barry Hall and Liam Jones, who are great pack marks, and down the other end, Main has kicked the most goals for Fremantle with 25. So Jack Anthony has started in defence. He may have to go forward as well today.
Michael Johnson brings the ball back in. It's a good kick to Clark, who spilt the beans. It's 55 out from the Dogs' goal.
My ball, ball pin.
Jack Anthony's an interesting one, Lloyd, isn't he? I heard Mark Harvey through the week talking about that maybe his role is best suited down back. We saw him turn Chris Tarrant into a close to an All-Australian defender at Fremantle. And I get the feeling he's got that in mind for Jack Anthony as well. He signed a 3-year deal with Fremantle.
All his junior career, and certainly in the VFL with Collingwood initially, he played at centre-half back and full-back. So it was really by accident that he stumbled into the Collingwood forward line for the Magpies, so maybe he will find his niche at half-back.
Not much happening in the early part of this game. Sandilands, that's a nice little handball out to Duffield. That's a pretty ordinary kick. Barlow gets there first. Sibosado lays the tackle in his first game.
I'd be surprised if he got pinged for that. And I reckon if that was earlier in the year, and to be honest with you, I'm happy that he wasn't, because I reckon they have been a bit hard, those calls, but the instruction was make sure you're showing an attempt, and Barlow just threw his arms out there and said I can't release the footy, so maybe a little bit lucky.
Sandilands wide towards the line. Hill, great speed, good tackle though by Tutt. Now a chance for Picken, did well in the grass to get it to Murphy around Clark, and Murphy forced to kick back inside defensive 50. The mark taken by Markovic, who was able to play on, switch the play. Schofield in space at half back. Probing kick towards Hall. Well done by Silvani. Just edged him out of it. Crumb though by Griffin. He kicks towards half forward. Grover was held. No free kick. Ball to the back. Anthony first there. But so is the boundary line. A boundary throw in half forward for the Dogs.
This is the one where Barlow, you can see, picks it up, gets it pinged to him, and almost just threw his arms out. Correct decision paid in the end. I think at the start of the year they were pretty red hot in that sort of tackle.
Clancy Pearce fires out the handball, spills to Sandilands. Now Grover attacks it, knocks it forward. Big Sandilands can't quite get there. Ward's in there, Hudson. Handball intercepted. Now Broughton for the Dockers. Kicks to the 50. The back of the pack is big Kepler Bradley. Can he get the kind bounce? He's immediately wrapped up by Markovic. Good tackle. Here's Sibosado, the boy from Beagle Bay in his first game. Got the handball out. Scrubby old kick from Bradley. Ward's there, now picked up by Barlow. Boyd tackled by Clark. Pickens in there, has another crack at it. Throws it on the boot out wide. And we will have a throw in.
We saw Fremantle last week and got absolutely thumped by Collingwood on the Friday night, but you could see their intent was there, and you see they're at least in the game here early on against the Western Bulldogs.
Sandilands to the back. Picken first to arrive. Oh, sure about that, but he takes the free handball off to his captain Boyd. He kicks across the ground. Beautiful kick, and the mark taken by Grant. Cross back to Grant. And the short kick is effective, marked by Jan Siracusa. Hall is on the lead. Not the greatest of kicks from Jan Siracusa. Hall and Sylvain, in fact Johnson this time. He got boot to ball, Big Barry. Schofield an opportunity. Can he get around Pitt? He can. No, he can't. Well, he got around him okay, but he went over in doing so. So a boundary throw in right half forward for the Bulldogs.
Spoke in the pre-game about Jared Grant and where he sits with the Bulldogs. He was an early draft pick. I think he was pick 5 a few seasons ago. And to me, their future is about... Sometimes you just got to turn people into good players. And with his speed, with his athleticism, he's got to become a really good lead-up forward for the Bulldogs if they are to try and get where they want to in the next couple of years.
Well worked by Sandilands in the ruck. Down to Broughton. Kicks into the middle. Clark can't take the mark. Here's up to Barlow. Intercepted by Broughton off to Hill. Dishes off in support. Is Pitt. Kicks to half forward. Hinkley can't control it. Now the Dogs get it back. There's Tutt. Kicks in the roughhead direction. Tutt follows up his good work. Off to Dalhouse. A little excitement machine for the Dogs to Barlow. His handball's partially smothered. Cross has another crack at it. Back out to Tutt. Now the Dockers win it back. Johnson at half-back. Kicks to the wing and Main's all by himself. Just come off the interchange.
Main in space. Now Bradley wants it long. He decides to go shorter. An intelligent kick. And the mark's taken by Byron Shammer, who today plays his last game for the Fremantle Dockers after announcing his retirement.
It's really fallen out of favour, Byron Shammo, in Mark Harvey's coaching tenure at Fremantle. A lot to do with his ball use. Turns the footy over a fair bit. So, young man retiring, but yeah, hopefully he can slot one through in his last game of AFL football.
That was classic him, though, for me, gut running. When he was playing well, he was able to really run players off their legs.
So here he is from 45 metres. Oh, disappointing kick across the face, and the ball is
hit the behind post. Good side be a boundary throw, and that was what Matthew Lloyd was pointing out, is that his kicking has always been an issue there, and to not make the journey from that sort of range is not great.
So a boundary throw in. Sandlands tries to get it to the back, taken though by Hudson. Wild old handball. Broughton hands it off to Pearce, who kicks into the pocket. Oh, yes! Sibosado! He's taken the mark 20 metres from goal on a 45-degree angle, and what a dream start this would be for Casey Sibosado, who would have just been sitting in the stands devouring a couple of hot dogs or pies as the 23rd man. He's had a handball, but this is his first kick in AFL football. An injury in the warm-up, the pre-match warm-up, to Luke McFarlane, and Sibosado dragged from the 3rd tier. Put your gear on, son.
Talk us through it, Chriso.
And here he is, his first kick in AFL football from 25. Oh, he stopped that all right. Casey Sibosado. What an introduction, Lloydie.
Oh, fantastic.
Now, we should say it's 8 minutes in. It's not the quickest first goal ever kicked by a player playing his first game.
Have I got that record ever?
I think you've told me it's about 5 seconds. About 10 times you've told me that.
Casey Sibosado, taken pick 3 in the 2009 rookie draft. He's originally from Beagle Bay in the Kimberleys. Played a bit of waffle and defence. He played some footy at Xavier College in Melbourne too. Obviously they forked out for a scholarship there, Chriso.
Yeah, boy, with a lot of talent.
Represented Northern Territory in the under-18s, and good on him.
Good to see the boys get around Casey too, didn't they? They came from everywhere, which is a good sign. There's a bit of spirit out there in round 24.
So another bounce in the middle. Sandlands against Roughhead.
Over the arm, Freo, free kick, Freo.
And yes, Sandlands has got the free kick. What's happening here? It's going back to Big Sandlands.
One of the issues when you come up against this massive man is that you're fighting so hard not to get pushed off the footy that you tend to grab on to anything you can, and he draws a lot of free kicks.
So he kicks to the 50. Bradley's there, can't take the chest mark. Bukovic got the handball out, it was partially smothered.
Didn't dive on it, he went
He
to
dived
ground.
on top, so we'll have a bounce. 50 out from the Dockers goal. Ben Bukovitz playing his second game of footy, wearing number 33 for Fremantle. Here's Barlow, gives it off to Pitt. Quick left foot kick to the goal square. Bit of soccer played by Murphy. Now Main, he loves a goal. Good tackle by Griffin, forces the spillage. Cross on hands and knees, gives it off to Bobby Murphy, who tries to bust a hole through the pack. Here's an opportunity for Shammer.
Shammer, good little handball. Oh, gee, intercepted though. The Hinkley handball by Murphy. Liberatore loops it over the top. Here's Picken. Driving kick deep. At the back, Gian Siracusa. Well done, Subin. He grabbed the piece of jumper though, and he does well to force it through for a rush behind. And perhaps Gian Siracusa, maybe they were grabbing hold of each other's jumper, but certainly there was a bit of jumper there from Subin.
Yeah, I think the free was there for Gia, but he's just stopped there and got to keep playing on. But Fremantle in this game, but Rob Murphy, Stephen Hill look to be the sparks for either side early in the match.
Here's Shammer. Had a bit of it early. Down the line looking for Main. He's caught behind. Does well though to win the footy back, but handball missed the target. Now Bukovitz kicks inside 50. Bradley got rid of his opponent. Barlow's there, tackled by Clark. And seen over the line.
Interesting looking at the matchup. You pointed out, Lloyd, at the start, Mzungu playing a defensive forward role on Murphy, who's just had, I reckon, his best season for the Western Bulldogs, despite the disappointing year.
Chance for Duffield. Snap it. Goal just dribbles across the face after some good work from Aaron Sandilands in the ruck.
Yeah, I agree, Das. I think too much has been left to Rob Murphy this year. Easton Wood, probably through injury, hasn't had the run, the usual run that he provides. So Robert Murphy seems to be the one always looking to generate something off half-back for the Dogs.
Mark taken by Cross. Off to the run of Schofield. Now Cross again. Not much on offer. Goes backwards. Finds Markovic. Off to Barlow.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, the wind got that one. Here's Wallace. Off to Griffin. That's a bit better. There's Premi. Sizzles it to Hall. Beautiful pass by Vez Premi. And Barry Hall can go back and have a shot at goal.
What's gone wrong for Vez Premi, Das? Because he's been a spark the last 2 or 3 games he's played, but he only got an opportunity with 3 rounds to go. Yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? He was an early draft pick in Sydney that didn't really get a great run there. So I think it was a player that carried a fair bit of weight. Fitness has been a concern and an issue, but I'm with you. I like what he does. I think when he gets the footy, something good happens, and good to see him getting at least a chance late in the season.
So Barry Hall, for his 51st goal of the season, has missed it to the left quite badly.
I was out there before the game and defending Shammer and Barry Hall. Could not believe how swirly the conditions are out there and really blustery. But Barry Hall has been spot on with his kicking this year and not one we'd usually see him miss.
So Michael Johnson finds Duffield from the kick in.
It's underrated here at EA Stadium, isn't it, Lloydie, that even though it's a closed roof stadium, the roof's open today, when that wind gets in and swirls around, it's deceptively hard to kick the footy, isn't it?
Fisted away by Tutt. Front and centre. Oh, gee. Tried to crash his way through was Pitt. And the ball tied up. He will get a bounce 48 metres from the Bulldog goal. 1-1 plays, 3 behinds. The final game for these clubs for the 2011 season. Well done by Clark, gets it down now at the back. Well done by Grover, almost milked the free kick. And the umpire's going to pay one here to the Bulldogs at the base of the pack. Gian Siracusa was taken high and he'll take the free kick, similar spot where Barry Hall kicked a few moments ago from 40 metres on a 40-degree angle.
Well, this will test the breeze. That's a fair free kick. Arm over the shoulder there to Gian Siracusa because Hall's a beautiful kick and missed badly. Gia is another guy, 43 goals, 16 this year, Gia. So we'll test out the kicking conditions once again.
Put the Bulldogs in front and kick their first goal of the afternoon. Beautifully done by Gian Siracusa. So the Dogs by a couple of points halfway through this third quarter.
First quarter.
Sorry, what did I say? First quarter. And just a little crude from Nick Subin.
I wish this game away early, Chris.
Yeah, what's wrong, Chris? They were enjoying
We
this.
are finishing the season on a real high note. I don't hear that crude hit at all. I tell you what, some of the experienced players from the Bulldogs, they've had a horrific season in so many senses, but had a pretty good year, Jan Syracuse. So too Murphy and so too Boyd.
Converting at almost 75% this season. Daniel Jones, Syracuse, 44 goals, 16 for the season. Now the Dogs lead by 2 points, 9 plays 7. Sandilands once again the tap. Liberator at the bottom of all that.
And have a look at this matchup on the wing. You've got big Zach Clark up against Jason Tutt, so he'd be giving away about 20 or 30 centimetres. Shows where Zach Clark can play everywhere.
Hudson the tap to Boyd. Hacks it back inside the 50. Getting there first is Johnson, quite comfortably. Gee, butchered the kick though, back to the wing. Shammer. Duffield. Book of Arts has run down. Bit slow there, the young fella, and it's a turnover. And that is not a good kick by Vespremi. He stubbed his toe and hurt himself as he kicked it. It's in the Dogs attacking 50 though. Darhouse has the pace. Darhouse has a shot at goal. It's across the face. And one behind.
Yeah, it's been fantastic, Luke Darhouse. Since joining the Bulldogs. Couldn't happen to any other player in the competition. Two blokes who go through, not on their knees, underneath your legs.
Subin wide, beautiful kick to Pearce. And Clancy Pearce got the footy at half back. Probing kick, Sibosado up, but so is Wood in front of him. And Easton Wood. And the hair getting longer. As the season's progressed, he's got it on centre wing. A little chip kick, oh gee, that was a poor effort. And well done by Pitt cutting across to chop it off.
It's a guy they've been trying to put weight on all year, the Fremantle Dockers. He was taken at pick 20 in the draft last year, so a high draft pick from Geelong, and they've got big hopes for Jaden Pitt.
Murphy, Schofield, Wallace combining now with Picken, who kicks to half forward again. The kick inside the forward half of the Dogs is chopped off, this time by Michael Johnson.
Just shorts it. Off to Subin, who runs right down the middle of the ground, looking for Bradley. He did it well, got rid of his opponent.
Kick.
Push!
Bulldogs to actually push out.
Gee, I don't know about that.
Play on.
Good use of strength, but the umpire thought otherwise. So the ball comes to the Dogs, and they go to the wing. Hill's just come on from the interchange as Ward was about to take the mark, and a turnover, and he's got Sibosado on inside 50.
Seeing that happen a lot more these days, aren't you? Players coming on the interchange so much more that you're getting caught out. Now, I always felt that's in the side, and Markovic has exaggerated the fall. The umpire's fallen into that. I reckon that's strength.
And the ball was within 5 metres, it would seem.
Underneath the arm and to the side.
I agree.
Should not be a free kick.
Casey Sibosado for his second. Not going to make the distance into the pocket. Oh, the big fly was from Hill off hands, a rush behind. 10 plays 8. It's the Dogs in front. Quick kick in, marked by Cross.
So Daniel Cross, little chip kick, okay. Vespremi. He's had a little bit of the footy early. Here's Tutt. Over the top, more Boyd was composed. Ward back to Tutt. Wild old handball. Roughhead had to get down low and did it very, very well. Vespremi followed up, chips towards Jan Syracuse, who was taken front on, surely a free kick. Advantage called, Dalhouse over the top, and here's a goal to Jones. So a goal to Liam Jones, and the Dogs out now by 8 points.
Now they start to take control of this game through the midfield. Inside 50s now, 10 to the Western Bulldogs, just 7 to the Fremantle Dockers. What a year he's had, Gene Syracuse. Really bounced back hard, and Liam Jones, good for his confidence to get a goal early in this first quarter.
There's a collision. Going back to flight, a pretty reckless attempt in the end by Broughton, and play on was the call, and always good to get a gift in the goal square, Lloyd, to get your confidence up.
Sandlin's fed it out to Broughton. Quick toe poke to half forward. Now the chase is on. Paddling and now controlling is Hinkley. Centering kick, looking for Sibosado. Works his way to the front. No mark. Back of the pack. Cross again to Griffin. To Markovic. He decides to go for a bit of a run. Has a bounce. And kicks in the Dalhouse direction, being harassed by Subin, who just won out with strength. Good effort. Handballs to Clark. Back to Subin, who squares up the kick. It's a beautiful pass. And the mark's taken by Bukovacs. Playing his second game, Ben Bukovacs, taken pick 56 in 2008 from that Geelong Falcons factory, Chriso, that produced so many good footballers.
And it's his third year in the system, been re-rookied a couple of times, been delisted, given another chance. So this could be his first goal in league footy as well.
Debuted against the Demons back in round 13. Ben Bukovacs for his first goal in league football. Hits the post.
And that's what is exciting about a final game of the year, is that every now and then a player just bobs up who have been in the system. Some players just take to the next level as though they were meant to play it all their life, and that will be what Mark Harvey and Paul Williams will be hoping today. See if they can just find one, someone who can stand up and maybe make a name for themselves and get a regular spot next year.
Silvani marks the Markovic kick. He comes inboard. Crowley. Now Johnson. Can they use it efficiently? Oh, not the greatest of kicks. Well done, Griffin. Hands and knees. Shamak gave it to Barlow, who was held before he got the footy, and Barlow will take the free kick now. Advantage called, and Sibosado. Oh, unlucky not to get a free kick. Chance for the Dogs. Well done by Mzungu. Chopped the Boyd handball off. It comes back to him, and he kicks it forward. And the mark's taken by Stephen Hill.
It's a real win for Stephen Hill. Pickens running with him. He's done okay. He's had 4 disposals, but just the one handball. But if he can add this to his game as he runs around for the snap.
Left foot. Oh, gee.
Yeah, it's a bad miss. But if he can add going forward and using his aerial skills, he's a bit taller than Liam Picken. That's something he's got to do to try and help shake the tag.
Again, quick kick in by the Bulldogs. Dalhouse takes the mark inside the centre square and wastes no time. Goes long and wide. Nice kick to Jan Siracusa, who's got to wait for the troops to arrive. Now there's a little short on. And the mark's taken by Jared Grant. Young Wallace lead ignored. He goes to him on the second time, though. Wallace kept on leading and is rewarded in the end for a bit of hard work. He wants to go on. Here he is. He's been called to play on. Now kicks to the tip of the goal square. Jones setting himself, worked underneath the ball. Handball comes out. Oh, it's almost a throw in the end. Dogs get it back. Little Fez Premier kick finds Ward. And Ward is only, 35 metres out at worst on a slight angle.
I don't know whether you picked it up on the effects, Mike's, either their quarters, but it was always going to be interesting to see how the Bulldogs fans reacted to Callan Ward today, with the news imminent that he's going to be going to GWS, and there just were a couple of subdued hoots from sections of the crowd then when they realised Ward had taken that mark.
So, Callan Ward averaging 21 disposals a game this season. Oh, the wind got a hold of that one too. Another miss. It is very, very blustery in Melbourne today. As I said, pretty much protected here, but
just wanted to ask Lloydie, someone who kicked an enormous amount of goals, and I know the modern players love doing that, but you're 10 metres out. That is the most simple drop punt in the game. Do you understand why the temptation is to go and do that?
Oh, it's crazy, that one. I think Stevie Johnson is the rare player that can do it, but he's on his preferred left foot. The angle was open enough as it is. Should have been a drop punt. You're spot on.
Oh, Pitt mucked it up there. Stolen away by Roughhead. Hill, great speed, but geez, ran into a nest of Bulldogs, and Barlow applying the initial tackle, tying Hill up, and we'll get a bounce in the centre. Barry Hall back onto the ground. Now chance for cross. Well done, Dalhouse, knocked it to Roughhead. Liberatore, Boyd knocks it on to the advantage of Tart. Gets around, good Shepherd coming from Wallace. Tart runs to 30, and he misses.
Does. You spoke of opportunities, and it's great seeing a couple get them today, but there's a lot of guys out on this ground, I reckon, for both clubs who are playing for their careers as well, or they may have made decisions on some of these players that they won't be with the club next year, but someone could save themselves as well by a performance which the club hadn't seen before.
Broughton kicks to the wing. Mark taken by Sibosado. Kicks long. Sandlands is the target. And he gets there in the end. The fist from Markovic just at the death managed to knock the football to the ground. Book of Arts. Little toe poke back to Sibosado. To Sandlands. Centering kicks a good one to Johnson, who's worked his way from defence. And he will line up from 40 metres out.
This guy, I think, sums up Fremantle's year. I think his good is good and his bad is really ordinary, and I think he's just got to find that gap between his good and bad games, because look at Paddy Ryder at Essendon, and he has his ups and downs, but far more consistent than this guy, and he's got a lot of potential, and I think that could be a big difference if he got himself fitter for Fremantle's chances next year.
Played every game this season, kicked 13 goals.
Without being unkind, that image of Michael Johnson doesn't look like an elite athlete, does he? Just at a glance, and you see that shot there. You see players as full-time professionals. Everyone's got a different frame, but
What do you think? He's a bit soft in the belly?
yeah,
here,
absolutely, Quarters. That's what you can only glean from that image, can't you? And when you're a full-time professional, if you aren't absolutely rock-hard fit, then it means you're not training hard enough.
Boyd short to Griffin. And now Liberatore. Just over a minute left in this opening quarter. Boyd, another disposal for Matthew Boyd. This is number 8. Leading the competition in disposals is the Western Bulldog captain. That's not his best. Chance for Barlow. Now Main does it well, loops it over the top. Now Shammer can run onto this from 30 metres around Markovic. Beautifully done, and he hits the post.
One goal, 6, the Dockers, and gee, they've missed about 4 very easy chances as they work it back inside 50 again. Hard one for Markovic, picked up. Pitt couldn't hit a target with the handball. Fed out by Wallace. Griffin ducked the head. Out towards Roughhead. Good tackle by Clark. Clancy Pearce. He's tackled by Vesperia, but the umpire says he was caught high, so free kick going to Pearce. Too far out to score. Kicks into the pocket. Sibosado again. Good stuff from Daniel Cross. And he's been rewarded with a free kick. It's advantage play, but gutsy stuff. You wouldn't expect anything less from Daniel Cross. And he's won the ball back for his team as Barlow goes in the middle, marked by Jared Grant. Time's going to run out. And that ends the first quarter here at Etihad Stadium. And only a couple of goals in that term to the Bulldogs. They're 2-6-18. The Fremantle Dockers 1-6-12 as we go to the break. Finals next week. Hawthorn renew hostilities with the Cats. I wonder what Alistair Clarkson has up his sleeve.